I fell asleep, but I'm up. It is 3:27 in the a.m. and Pence was just talking because now they're going to do their electoral college vote thingy.
Are there any objections to counting the certificate of the vote from the state of Rhode Island that the teller has verified as it appears to be regular and authentic?
It's the first time Rhode Island ever went first.
The certificate from South Carolina, the parliamentarians advised me, is the only certificate of vote from that state that purports to be returned from the state, and has annexed to it a certificate of authority of the state purporting to appoint and ascertain electors.
The thing is that I've been looking on Twitter right now, and they've got the 25th Amendment trending. They do this all the time, but I mean, we're not that many hours away from what could have been the start of a civil war. It's January 7th now. That would be 13 days for Biden to become president. People who would want to remove Trump now are trying to either make sure that a civil war happens as soon as possible, make sure there's no de-escalating, no calming down. They don't want to just wait 13 days and see if maybe there can be some kind of settling down. The people who are always doing this, I've never understood how people don't understand. When you poke people, when you provoke people, when you push them, they don't expect pushback, and so much of what happened has been pushback. I don't understand why people think I can say whatever I want about people. I can think all the horrible things. Me and my group, we can get together and we can pile on and call regular people horrible names because we disagree with them, and we'll push and we'll push and we'll push and we'll push as long as possible. And if they push back, we'll be shocked and we'll act like, where did that come from? Several people have said this isn't about Trump and Biden, and it's not. You know, people have blamed Trump for a lot of things. Donald Trump was a mogul who liked to build buildings and made a lot of money, and then at one point he had some money trouble, saved himself by coming on The Apprentice and hosting that show. A lot of people watch that show. Then somewhere down the line, as an American and somebody who's done business all over the world, decided he should run for president. And he did. And he got elected. And that's the whole story. All this other stuff is editorial. All this other angry attitudes and ideas that there's some evil that he puts into the minds of people. People voted for Donald Trump 4 years ago for a reason. A lot of people voted for Donald Trump this time for reasons that have to do with their own lives and what they feel they need in a president. I think that the last 10 months have shown us how much a president does and doesn't do, how much our government controls, how much local government, especially state government, is actually in charge of whether you leave the house or not, whether you have the freedom to have your own business. You're supposed to be able to have your own business. You're supposed to be able to make money and provide jobs for other people and take care of your family. But we've had, in the last year, a government that has done a lot. They've destroyed a lot of lives, and people act like it doesn't count or it doesn't matter. It had no effect on the way anyone voted. It has no effect on the way anyone does anything right now. This election isn't a normal election. 2020 wasn't a normal year. What happened today didn't happen overnight. It's not because a bad orange man somehow infiltrated the minds of cult followers. I mean, nearly 80 million people is cult. No. I mean, I know there are people who think Christians are a cult, and you know, in the very beginning, when it was Jesus and his pals, the people of the day, the Jewish people of the day, thought that the early Christians were a cult. And it grew and it grew, and it became the Catholic Church, and then you got all the Protestant churches. Are they all cults? Is every religion a cult? I know there are people who think that. And you call people a cult. You can call people a lot of names to insult them, to provoke them. And then when they are provoked and they push back, you act surprised and you act shocked. Too much has gone on in this country for the last 4 years in terms of division that was brought about by not only the political parties, but definitely by the media. Every day, separating blue people and red people. Every day. And then when they decide they want everybody to get along again, they're like, okay, heal now. After everything they've done. Government has brought people to a horrible place. All kinds of government. Blue and red. What's happened to not just Americans, but people all over the world, in England, everywhere, where people not allowed to do business in a misguided attempt to stop the spread of a virus, a pandemic. I don't think there's ever been a time in history where people were dumb enough to think that you could stop a virus. I mean, you have something like that, it's going to catch to people. Yes, you can wash your hands and you can try to wear a mask to protect yourself, but to try to get an entire population to somehow not spread germs that can go out the sides of a mask, that can stay on doorknobs and anything, that nobody wears gloves anymore. I wore gloves in the beginning, but then there weren't any in the stores. There was no way to stop the spread of a virus, and anybody who thought that there was silly. So all those silly people shut down their states, and under the idea that they were going to save lives, I don't think that they did. I don't think that anybody was saved by any of the measures, any of the lockdowns. But how many lives were ruined and livelihoods were ruined? How many people committed suicide because they couldn't afford to pay their bills, could no longer have their business open? That's going to continue. You see these people I'm watching right now on C-SPAN. They couldn't give Americans a $2,000 stimulus check. Both sides did that. Nancy did it before the election. McConnell did it just now. You want to anger people? You make them desperate. They systematically made people desperate over the last 10 months. Okay? And then there is suspicion amongst many people that the vote, the only thing we really have to help decide who is going to tell us whether we can be open for business or have a place to live if we don't have the money because you can't make money because you're not allowed to work. Those people did not give anybody the means to help themselves. They did not provide money to the American people. They provided money to a lot of other things that don't need it. They told you you can't work, but Hollywood can stay in production. There are movies in production while everything else is shut down. Those guys were okay. They can still work, but not you. Not you and your small business. Not the thing you worked hard to build. Those people are government. These people are government. These people did not give the American people the means to stay afloat. They have told us for the last 10 months that you're on your own. Listen to our rules, follow our rules, but in the end, you're on your own. We're here to tell you what to do, but we're not here to help you. And the media and these politicians would act like this is coming out of nowhere. All these angry people, they're evil Trump supporters who are just in a crazy cult of believing fake news that there was election fraud. But you know, the more you push, the more you tell people you're delusional, you don't know what you're talking about, everything was fair, let's all heal now. The more you tell people how horrible they are and how stupid they are and that their vote is worthless, which most of the time it is. At some point, you're going to get a breaking point. Today was the breaking point for the country. A lot of people have been past their breaking point. Nobody cares. They'll do a story. They'll say, oh, look at all the long lines for food banks. But that doesn't figure in to the political situation. The same media that's reporting politics all day and telling you how stupid Trump supporters are and how they're all a bunch of racist whatevers. Nearly 80 million people. They'll show people needing food banks and food help and go right back and act like these two things don't go together. A lot of people got $600 this week. That's it. All the world out there, all the media from the rest of the world, they want to see how horrible Americans are and, oh, aren't they disgusting? What about how your countries provided? Your countries gave you money. They got money every month, and Americans got nothing. They were told basically to lump it, deal with it, it's your problem. It didn't just come from the right, it came from the left, it came from Congress. President Trump could not cut a check for all the American people. He would have. The American people know that. He said more than once, many times, in the middle of summer, leading up to the election, after the election, give these Americans $2,000. Give them more than that. He said it over and over again. Everybody pretends he didn't. in the middle of all this. He was the only one acting like he cared about business people, people with small businesses, people who needed money because we were locked down. The rest of them act like, well, if you want to have a business, that's because you want to kill grandmas in a nursing home. That's the kind of person you are. They will paint you as somebody who wants to kill elderly and people at risk because you want to be able to run your business and keep your family afloat and keep your kids fed and a roof over your head. That's how they tell. That's how they spin it. That's how it goes out. But the world who's all looking at us and aren't we horrible? They have literally starved Americans. They've told them it's just too bad if you can't afford your rent. It's just too bad if the business you worked hard for all these years closed. It's too bad if you had a bunch of savings for a rainy day, but we forced a rainy day on you for 10 months. That's what's been going on. But all they'll say is, oh, yeah, these people believe lies about election fraud, and they're all a bunch of crazy cultists who descended on the Capitol because they're terrorists. I don't know who those people were. I don't know if they were Trump supporters. I don't know if they were Antifa. But I can guarantee you this country has been building for a long time into a conflict even before President Trump took office. This country for the last 20 years has been slowly making things worse for the average person. You can go back to Occupy Wall Street when we started talking about the 1% and the 9%, 99%, excuse me. It goes back that far. People have been sick of it for a long time. People have been treated like crap by their government for a long time. This didn't happen because the host of Celebrity Apprentice became president and he's a bad man. This has been going on for a long time. It's been building for a long time. I just wish the media had told the truth all along. Maybe had they done actual reporting instead of building a narrative, had they just said what was going on, this happened today, these people had this problem, instead of editorializing, pushing for their own agendas. Had everybody just told the truth, we wouldn't be here. That's all we needed was truth and reporting. That's it. Now these people are sitting there and they're shaking hands. I don't know. This guy just gave President Pence a nickel or something. I don't know. Nancy Pelosi and they're rubbing elbows. Some kind of weird mating ritual. I don't know. But anyway, everything they do, people are watching. Everything that these images go out, their words go out. And you're going to insult people who are already angry, who are already in a situation where they're ready to revolt. And I said it before, you're stoking the fire. You're not trying to de-escalate things. Not the way they're behaving. And if the news media just report it as it is, just tell the truth. But they won't. They haven't learned that. They've had a big part to play in what's happening in this country. It's sad. It's sad because, like I said, we got along fine. We didn't get along like bestest friends. It was a normal place to live. Everybody was relatively alright. Until the last 4 years of constantly being told that we should be separate, and we are separate, and we are divided, and them dividing us and forcing it. So you have your president-elect, right? There's no telling what's going to happen tomorrow. It's 3:46. I don't know. I wish that people could have been honest all this time. I've been watching this person who tells the truth all the time and gets nothing for it. I've been watching for the last 20 years very closely, and it's been leading up to this, little by little by little by little. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see.